yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 11. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this magnanimous Wednesday afternoon, Earth Day, July 16th, 2014. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, shut up. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
Hi, I'm Brandon Full.
Alright, today's episode we're going to be talking about just random stories so we can prep ourselves for next week's episode.
Next week is going to be a doozy.
It's a Lulu.
I mean, does it kind of kill this episode of the podcast if we started out by saying,
you probably don't want to listen to
we
this?
don't really have shit to talk about this week, but next week's going to be really good.
I think we have some interesting topics.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I have all the confidence in the world for this.
So yeah, we're just going to pop off some stories today about random bits that we found on the internet.
Yeah, I figured sounds good, because it's entirely different from what we did last week.
Right.
If you hear...
I guess if we have a theme.
Yeah. If you hear noises in the background, Remington's sister is here today, taking photos of us.
Yep, she is going to be taking some photos for us so we can put up on the Facebook? Yeah.
So we're entirely nude here in the studio today.
Yes, completely.
So be ready for these.
Yeah, these are going to be hot. HAWT hot.
I have nothing to say to that.
Well, you were telling me earlier that you had something about playing some Mario?
Yeah, I went to Rinks on Friday.
Okay.
Rinks is a local flea market. It's
Mm-hmm.
only open on weekends, and it's awesome. It's like, it used to be an old hardware, or an old department store.
Yeah.
I think called Rinky Dinks, right? And they just kept the sign.
Of it, to be perfectly honest.
I'm pretty sure it was an old department store called Rinky Dinks. Basically, went out of business in, I don't know, the 70s or whatever, and they've gutted it, and it's a flea market, and there's a bunch of different stalls. It's like a huge yard sale.
Right.
Open on the weekends, and I have a guy there that specializes in old video games, up to current video games, but mostly, I mean, he goes all the way back to Atari.
Right.
I went there last Friday, and picked up Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo.
Uh-huh.
Did you, I assume you played that?
Oh, yeah. I played the hell out of that.
What do you remember of it?
Well, I was meaning to come over to your house yesterday and completely forgot.
Yeah, I was going to bring my Super Nintendo over to hook it up to, I assume one of those monitors would also work as a television. I assume one of them probably has the yellow, white, red, whatever.
No, they don't put those on things anymore.
Really?
Yeah. They don't have them integrated
My
anymore.
TV does. My TV has like 12 of them.
TVs, yeah, but not monitors.
Well, I know that a lot of times you can get TVs almost cheaper than you can monitors.
Yeah.
And then use those as monitors.
Yeah, you can, but the refresh rate is slower on them.
Mm-hmm.
They have, I think it's like 25 on the refresh rate on those.
Okay.
Where these are 60 hertz, so you get a faster refresh rate.
I think the listeners can actually hear my eyes glaze over as you talk about that stuff.
I just, when we were talking about the pixel count and...
I disagree. To the internet! But yeah, what do you remember about Super Mario World?
I remember going... I did play it not too long ago over at Jimmy's house.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get very far, but that's the one with Yoshi, correct?
Yeah.
And you have the big map, and you complete each little section.
Yeah, and there's different worlds, like
and
Chocolate Island,
and you can unlock secret areas
secret
as well,
to get to Star Road, which I'll get to. But that's the thing, you mentioned Yoshi.
Right.
You remember Yoshi in that game, right?
Yeah.
Yoshi is not in that game that much. Which totally blew my mind, because I was expecting to go in and like a fucking Yoshi gangbang. Like Yoshi's running at me from both sides of the screen, raining Yoshis. And there's a Yoshi...
That's how the game starts off, isn't it?
With the Yoshi gangbang?
Yeah.
I think you were playing a mod. That's not in the original.
Oh. This is awkward.
Well, no, yeah, you get Yoshi in the very first level, but like maybe every 8 or 9 levels has Yoshi.
Yeah.
I don't know, it surprised me.
I thought you could take Yoshi along with you.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
But you die a lot in this game. Maybe it's a testament to me being a shitty Mario player.
Yeah.
But you die a lot in this game. But I made it to Star Road, which you mentioned.
Right.
And Star Road is 5 levels, each of the point of a 5-pointed star. And then in one of the levels, you can get a secret exit and go to Super Star Road or Secret World or whatever it's called.
Secret World, I believe, is what it's called.
And that has 8 levels, each with names like Awesome, Gnarly, Tubular.
Yeah.
And when you beat all 8 of those, it changes the game, where the colors are different, the Koopas are wearing like creepy Mario masks instead of shells, everything's like a weird brownish hue.
Right.
And I know I was talking to you about this a couple nights ago when you came over. The Secret World is the most irritating, hard fucking thing I've ever played in my entire life.
I remember when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure that we got through it, but I don't know how I'd do now, to be perfectly honest. If my experience over at Jimmy's is any indication, I don't know how well I would do anymore.
I went in thinking, like, I beat this shit when I was, like, 10.
Yeah.
I've got almost 20 more years of experience since then. This is going to be a breeze.
But we're slower and fatter and older and...
Well, I don't think weight has anything to do with how well you fucking play Mario.
We've got carpal tunnel from jerking off.
Are you suggesting that we're so fat that our fingers are fat enough that they're hitting multiple buttons? I'm just mashing all 4 of them at once.
We are like B-word
But
fat.
my belly keeps hitting the down the down button on the control pad.
I can't get this control pad to not keep ducking.
I got too much
Every
Cheetos
time
on the start button.
Every time I jump, I jump right into a wall. And then Yoshi, he sticks out his tongue, and he's always grabbing the wrong things whenever he's sticking out his tongue, and fireballs are eating my asshole.
I get out of breath watching Mario run.
I get out of breath
like,
talking
geez.
about Mario.
But yeah, basically, that's all I really had to say. These levels are fucking irritating. If you have a Super Nintendo and you haven't played Super Mario World in a while,
definitely. I mean,
bust it out. Go to Super Star World or Secret World or whatever the hell it's called, and try to play through those levels and try not to break your controller. I was sitting in the bedroom and Bree was out with her daughter in the living room.
Yeah.
And she came in more than once like, "Are you okay? I heard you cussing in here." Because I mean, I'd seriously like, all right, I got it this time. Because I talk to myself when I'm playing games. I'm like, all right, you got this. You got this. Fuck! Are you fucking kidding me? Just over and over and over and over. So, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, man. I don't know.
Don't know what.
I don't know about playing Super Mario anymore.
That's a thrilling conclusion to this conversation.
I'll probably cut that out.
Yeah. No, I think you need to leave it in there. Show
Don't
him
you
what
tell
I'm
me what-
show him what I'm fucking working with. Trying to make this a serviceable podcast.
Everything-
when you're staring just
Blankly
staring at me
staring at
like
you.
like the words I'm saying make absolutely no sense whatsoever to you.
I don't actually speak English.
Mm-hmm.
Last week when I was talking about...
Well, if you
learning
pronouncing
how to-
your last name is any indication of how well you speak English. And I'm Remington Hisher.
So, along the same vein of video gaming, you are also a huge fan of Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, pretty much anything Nintendo. You know, I don't have a Wii or a Wii U. I'd like to get a Wii U, I guess, but yeah. Nintendo has slowly been losing favor with me, but they were such a big part of my youth that it's going to take them a long time for me to finally be just done with Nintendo.
Yeah. So you're really just hanging on to the nostalgia of the whole Nintendo thing.
Yeah, I think Nintendo, I mean, going into, you know, you'll bring up Super Smash Brothers, I think going into, like, Nintendo banks off of nostalgia.
Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm. So they are coming out with a new Super Smash Brothers?
Mm-hmm.
And do we have a release date on that off the top of your head that you know of? Or
I have no idea. I don't really follow the Wii U stuff because I don't have one.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know they just released the new Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Super Smash Brothers, like, it's exciting. If I had a Wii U, I'd be really excited about it. But, I mean, it's just another Super Smash Brothers, you know?
Yeah. So they're going to be releasing a few new characters. And I guess, did they take Captain Falcon out for a while?
I honestly don't know. The last one I played was GameCube.
Okay. And Captain Falcon was in that one.
Yeah.
But they're also bringing in some Fire Emblem characters.
Is it Marth and Roy?
Marth and Ike. And I've only played one of the Fire Emblem series, and I think it was for, like, the DS.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoyed it.
I played the one for the Game Boy Advance.
Mm-hmm. I thought we'd get more out of this.
Yeah. I mean, is Mega Man in this one? Don't forget to listen next week. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, next week it's probably going to be better, I promise. As long as we keep silent for the silence, I can cut it out easy.
Then we're going to put out like a 20-minute episode.
This doesn't have... Oh, no. It's Captain Falcon. Nintendo promised one new Smash Bros. Character reveal this morning, and instead gave us 3. The returning Captain Falcon, who apparently had left, and 2 characters from the Fire Emblem Awakening series, Robin and Lucina. Chrom also made an appearance in this morning's trailer, but sadly he appears to be an assist trophy or a final smash for Robin, not a playable character. So this is straight from the Kotaku article about it.
You don't really follow a whole lot of video gaming news, though, do you?
No, I don't. I just don't have the time or the energy to devote to a whole lot of gaming anymore. It seems like I have a lot of other little projects that I like to work on. It's not that I don't enjoy gaming, it's just... Gaming for me is tantamount to reading a new book series for me. I don't really go out and read, like, new series of books or new authors or anything, unless it's something that just, if I start off on a few pages and read it and it captures me, then I'll read the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just don't go out of my way to do it. I don't know why. I just don't. I suppose I suffer for that, but moving on. We don't believe in segues here on Dueling Ogres.
Yeah, we had a good segue from Mario to Super Smash Brothers. Well, we would have had a good segue.
If we had more to talk about.
Yeah.
I just figured there'd be more there. I figured you'd know a little bit more about it, but...
I played one Fire Emblem game a little bit.
Right. We're segueing from video games to Doctor Who a little bit. I just thought that this was interesting, and this is going to be a real short thing as well.
Different from our last lengthy discussion of Super Smash Brothers.
But for those of you who have played Mass Effect, which was a really, really good BioWare game, did you ever get to play through it at all?
I started to play the first one because I love Knights of the Old Republic, and I just couldn't get into it. I've heard so many people say the first one wasn't that great. If you played it, you didn't like it, go to the second one. I've seen it at Buyback, which is kind of a secondhand video game movie store around here.
Right.
I've seen it at Buyback pretty cheap and just have never picked it up. I just don't know if I have the time to devote to that. I've got a lot of games downloaded that I still haven't played, so...
Yeah. I played through the first one. Of course, Kevin had them, so whenever he'd get a new game, I'd at least try it out. Kevin had it, and I played through the first one, and I really enjoyed it. I think I played through it twice, maybe. He got the second one. I started playing it. I don't think I ever finished that one.
I know the third one got a lot of flack for the ending.
Yeah, but I don't think I got around to playing the third one. But they were very enjoyable games, and, the choices, that was when selecting different choices to move the game in a different progression was really hitting the market. They kind of cornered that a little bit.
Yeah, well, they had even before that, because on the original Xbox, there were the 2 Knights of the Old Republics. Yeah, there was Jade Empire, which I think is a really underrated game by them. Yeah. That's awesome. It's the same sort of thing set in, like, sort of a fictionalized Asian-y area, like magic and karate and shit.
Yeah. That one, what was that one called again?
Jade Empire.
Jade Empire.
Did Mass Effect have the,
I believe they created, if it's the same game, I think they created their own mashup language for that.
They may have, correctly. Because they did speak, some of them spoke a different language.
Yeah. And it was kind of a mashup of a lot of different, it had underpinnings of different Asian languages in it.
Yeah.
Of course, if I remember correctly, a lot of the Asian languages kind of spun off of Chinese.
I'm not really sure.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah. We have a flash going in here right now.
Red eye reduction. Sorry. Oh. That completely killed my train of thought.
Yeah, I think that train of thought was pretty much derailed already. What do we got for Mass Effect news? What do we got here?
So the new Doctor Who teaser trailer came out, and it had an alien character that looks very much like Garrus, who was the kind of sniper character in Mass Effect, and he has these protruding kind of bone segments off of the skull. The aliens are called Turians, and they have these protrusions off of the skulls and very cut jawbones and But he was a really interesting character to bring along with stuff. He was kind of the snarky, like, I've always got a smart-assy comment, but he was also quiet at the same time.
Yeah.
So he was, I would say, maybe the chaotic neutral character, almost.
So there was, in the new Doctor Who teaser, there was...
an alien who looks very similar to Garrus.
Like, how similar?
Like, this picture here, this is off of Polygon. We'll link that.
Is that from the Doctor Who thing?
That is from the actual Doctor Who thing.
Wow, that does
not
look
from Mass Effect.
Exactly like that race or whatever.
Yeah, the Turians, yeah. So that was an interesting thing, so I'm looking forward to that. Of course, Ginger's a big Whovian.
Yeah.
And I at least enjoy watching it.
Have they come out and said... No, I guess not, if you're speculating at this point. If that is the alien from Mass Effect, if they're doing like a crossover of sorts.
I would seriously doubt that they'd be doing a proper crossover, but I don't know, it's hard to tell.
That would be neat to have like a one-off kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, I love crossovers. I don't think there's enough of them in popular culture. I mean, again, I've talked incessantly about the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
But just the crossover of all the characters there is awesome.
I agree. I mean, the biggest problem with crossovers is buying the rights to it. Because there's a lot of money involved in things like that.
Yeah.
You have to buy the rights to use certain characters and things in different series or what have you. And I think if they would lower the price of that and really mix more of that in, but I mean, I guess I don't know how most people would feel about straight up Doctor Who and BioWare getting together to do some crossover with Mass Effect.
I think people would enjoy it. See, in that circumstance, I don't even see why the Mass Effect people would want to charge, you know?
Yeah.
I could very easily see them like, oh, Doctor Who is popular as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and more than likely, is it going to get new people into the game series? Maybe not. But there's enough people. I mean, Mass Effect was a disgustingly popular game.
It was.
So, you know, enough people are going to be like, oh shit, I don't really watch Doctor Who. Mass Effect aliens in that. That's cool. Or, you know, I don't really play Mass Effect.
Yeah, or vice versa.
Oh, that alien race on Doctor Who seemed really cool and he's from Mass Effect. Maybe I should check out the game.
Right. I think it would only really make sense if Mass Effect, or I mean, if BioWare was bringing a new Mass Effect game to light. I just don't see why you would let Doctor Who use a character from that game.
I mean, why not?
And not capitalize on it by making a new Mass Effect game. As far as I know, they aren't making a new Mass Effect game.
I mean, you can be guaranteed they're making a new Mass Effect game. They may not have announced it. It might be on the back burner. But somewhere right now is a guy drawing up pictures of Mass Effect and programmers trying to figure out the new targeting system or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that game is too huge to not make another one. There's so much going on in here. It's great. This is an episode where I wish we had a video going.
Yeah.
Because we've got Rim's sister taking pictures, which is fine, but Remington, while I'm talking, and we're facing each other while we record, while I'm talking to Remington and he's answering, as if he's listening, is like miming something that looks like a blowjob to his sister. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that he was propositioning her, because that would be disgusting and offensive. I'm just reporting what I saw.
Right.
Well, so what were you trying to...
She was holding up my homemade pop filter.
Okay.
And was very confused by said pop filter. So, I was trying to explain to her what it was in pantomime.
But yeah, I think if that is Mass Effect alien, first off, if it's not, that's super weird that there's an alien that looks... I mean, he's even got like the kind of glowy eyes.
Yeah, he really does.
Which those aliens also had. We'll put a link to this on the Facebook page too, so you can check out, or at least post a picture of them.
Yeah.
To show you.
Yeah, we'll show that.
We can do it like a side by side.
This also has, I can put that together. This also has the actual trailer, if you haven't seen it, for Doctor Who. I mean, all of the Whovians have already seen it.
You're a big Doctor Who fan, right?
I don't want to say that I'm a big fan. I just enjoy the series. With the release of the new Doctor, he's a much older Doctor.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you think of the
Matt's
geriatric Doctor.
The geriatric Doctor.
Well, I've heard that they're going to have a whole 3-episode arc of him getting those rails installed in the shower of the TARDIS. In case he trips.
Aww.
The big scene of the TARDIS landing in light and electricity, and then the wheelchair ramp slowly down.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Isn't the guy actually just like in his 50s or something? Or 60s?
I have no idea how old he is. But from the look of it, it looks like it's going to be taking a much darker turn. Like, Matt Smith was very gangly and energetic, so there were a lot of funnier episodes to that.
Yeah.
But I imagine there were some darker ones as well in the Matt Smith Doctor incarnation. But I think we're going to see a lot more darkness out of this one, because the last couple of Doctors have been pretty lighthearted.
Yeah. Bree likes Doctor Who, so she watched the entire last season, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, she watched the second to last season, and then when the Doctor switched, whatever's on Netflix right now.
Right.
And I watched probably 5 or 6 episodes, and I enjoyed it. It's one of those things that, like, I know I would enjoy if I sat down to watch it, and I just don't.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I think it's going to be taking a darker turn, at least for a little while.
So you've seen a lot of Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Okay, and the, like, season that I watched, roughly season, and then episodes here and there that I'll see Bree watching, every other fucking episode seems like the Daleks are like, oh, we thought they were extinct and they're back. Is that just like a running thing? Because I've seen probably 10 episodes where it's like, oh, we've got a secret villain, and then a fucking Dalek pops out, and they're like, I thought you were extinct, and they're like, we're not. Gotcha.
Sorry about that. We were hiding.
Is that just kind of a thing?
The Daleks are one of the most popular villains in Doctor Who, and I think it's just because not only are they so not humanoid, but inside of them
there's like a tiny little alien,
remnants of humans. Well, if I remember right, they were originally a humanoid or a human-like race.
Mm-hmm.
And but they've been at war with the Time Lords since the Time Lords were Time Lords.
See, I will take Bill and Ted any day over Doctor Who. You know my love of Bill and Ted.
Totally, dude.
Bill and Ted is just, if you time travel movies, Bill and Ted is just the end all be all. Looper, Back to the Future.
Socrates.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. I mean, and there's been talk forever of them doing a third Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's kind of like the same talk that they have of Ghostbusters 3.
Right.
There's a segment of the population that's like, yeah, fucking, yeah, do it. And then other people that are like, do you really want to, like, they're going to sully my childhood or whatever, you know, bullshit people say.
Yeah.
I say make Bill and Ted 3. I don't care how fucking old they are. I don't care if they're stumbling out of that telephone booth.
Right.
And I think actually the telephone booth was a nod to Doctor Who's TARDIS.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it was. Because, I mean, the original Doctor Who series ran for quite a long time before that movie ever came out, so.
Wasn't it pretty serious, too? Like, the original's, like, was it like 60s or something?
I haven't really watched a whole lot of them, so I can't really say.
I just feel like they'd be too painful to watch. I think if I'm not a fan, really, of the current Doctor Who, the old Doctor Who would just be a snooze fest.
Yeah, that's a good possibility.
That was a great joke, Rem. I hope we don't have to edit that out. So, anyway.
Well, I guess that's a good way to come back from a
we just had to
impromptu
pause.
break, yeah.
I'm so funny.
You are just the funniest person I have ever met. Seriously.
Alright, so what else we got? Doctor Who. Anything else to say on Doctor Who? I don't know a whole lot. Oh, I was talking about Bill and Ted.
Oh, yeah, you were.
That's all I have to say on Bill and Ted. Awesome. Love them.
How did you feel about the second movie?
I love it. I like the second movie better than the first movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, they go to hell. The Grim Reaper, the band, Station. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one's alright. What I like about the second movie is the second movie borderlines taking itself really seriously.
Right.
But not in a bad way.
Uh-huh.
You know, like it's a very heavy, we have to save the world, there's evil robots, there's a guy trying to take over and change history, but the whole time it's ridiculous. Like they die, they beat Death originally by giving him a wedgie, or they call him Melvin. Then they go to visit.
I'm gonna have to look up later who played Death.
Oh, he's been in other stuff. I can't remember the guy's
sure.
name, but he has been in other stuff.
Yeah.
Then they go to visit Bill's mom, or no, Ted's mom, who used to be Bill's mom, stepmom.
Right.
It was a girl they went to school with. And they visit her during a seance, and they have a book that apparently actually works, and it banishes them to hell.
Yeah.
It's just a great movie. I love it.
Oh, okay. William Sadler is the guy who played Death in that. He was in Iron Man 3, The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile.
Oh, he played Shank, right?
Yeah, he played Shank of the Shaws. He played Shaw's Shank. You're an idiot.
Death Wish?
No, he wasn't in Death Wish, unfortunately. Well, I mean, he could have been. I don't know.
Oh, did you hear Andy Griffith died?
What?
Andy Griffith died.
Andy Griffith died in, like, 2012.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that he died.
I saw that we, Ginger and I actually, she saw somebody share a post about that on Facebook.
Oh.
And we were both completely dumbfounded because we were like, he died like 2 or 3 years ago or something like that.
All right, cut that out.
I'm not cutting it out. You, sir, look like a jackass. Not everything that you see on Facebook is true. This might be news to you.
I didn't see it on Facebook. I heard it on a podcast. Anything you hear in a podcast is true. Andy Griffith just died.
Just died.
Literally 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago.
He was here. He's out in the parking lot.
We just dead. Just laying in the parking lot dead.
I mean, he was yelling for help, but we're recording. We
Right.
can't pause.
Yeah.
I mean, we paused because you wanted to grab some water and I had to pee. But besides that, we're not pausing for Andy Griffith.
No, not for...
Podcast stop for no man.
Especially not old Hollywood stars.
Did you watch the Andy Griffith show? I mean, you had to have, right? Back on like Nickelodeon or Nick at Night or
I
whatever.
honestly didn't watch it when I was a kid, but I've watched a fair amount of it now.
It's pretty
due to
fucking
my
boring,
job.
isn't it?
I don't know. It kills time.
I mean, I guess it takes you back to that old time of like
It's fun to see what's his name while he was still adorable and not a gremlin.
Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Ron Howard's not a gremlin. You're thinking of his brother, Clint
Well,
Howard. Clint Howard is a fucking troll.
Clint Howard is a true gremlin, but I mean Ron Howard doesn't look great anymore.
Well, because he's like fucking 85. You gotta give Clint Howard credit, though. Honestly, I mean, I don't know what he looked like younger. I mean, you don't look like that when you're an adult unless you kind of looked like that when you were younger, too.
Right.
But he carved out a niche for himself.
He really did, and he's a wonderful actor. For being put into roles that generally he has to play, a goofy character, you kind of have to be typecast in that sort of situation.
I mean, you always have to have somebody who plays crazy homeless guy, too.
Right.
And Clint Howard is good for that. Or potential rapist 7.
Right. But he's a good actor, so I've enjoyed the small parts that he's played in things. And every time, usually when you realize that it's Clint, they have the camera panning up to him and he's not facing the camera, and then he swivels around and faces the camera, and you're like, oh shit!
Well, they like to throw in jump scares in movies.
In all movies. Oh, it's just Clint Howard.
Jesus.
We're okay.
I thought I was watching Lord of the Rings for a second.
The Order Kai!
Well, I know Clint Howard listens to this podcast, so we're just joking around, buddy.
We love you. You can come be on it if you'd like. If you're ever in the West
What
Virginia
about Steve
way.
Buscemi? He's a strange-looking guy. For being such an awesome actor, though.
Yeah, just those eyes, man. Those big buggy eyes.
Is that what you think it is? Is the eyes? Because
Well-
he has like a look, kind of a serial killery look,
a serial killer?
I mean, he does, sort of.
Yeah, I suppose if he didn't get to acting, his main profession would have been killing virgins. Or
He
something
has
to that
like
effect.
an off-putting look to him.
Yeah.
Which I think makes him good for the roles that he's in. Like Fargo, awesome in that. Big Lebowski. Have you ever seen Boardwalk Empire, the show that he's like the...
Yes.
Is that any good?
Yes, it was. I mean, it was a drama, and but yeah, the character in that,
Was it kind of Mad Men-y?
a little bit.
Like, it was the boardwalk building up? I don't know the story. It's about an empire of boardwalks?
Yes, it is about it is about the men who built boardwalks.
Is that really what it's about?
No,
That would be great.
it's kind of a gangster type deal. I think it takes place during the Prohibition. and
Does it
stuff
take
like
place
that.
during the ocean? Or around during the ocean? Does it take place by the ocean?
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
So there are actual boardwalks in it,
Yes.
is what I'm getting to.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Does it
Does it take place during the ocean? We've got our new movie coming out. It's set during the time period of ocean.
Vanessa's trying so hard to stifle her laughter.
I'm actually crying.
Oh, shit. All right.
Oh, Jinx! You owe me a Coke. So you wanted to talk about some sexy things.
Well, yeah, but I wanted to see if there was anything else you had pulled up you want to go through first. Because, I mean, we've got time. We're only at like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well,
So I figure I want to try to pull a discussion out of this.
Okay.
So if you want to go through some of the other stuff,
Okay.
see if there's anything else there that catches our eye.
I think this one might be a little discussion worthy. The Archie comics and the I guess it's a different timeline? Is that what you were kind of telling me?
And well, what you're talking about is that they're killing off Archie.
They're killing off
Archie.
Archie.
Have they done it already, or is it still? Because they've been talking about this for months.
They're going to, but they've finally revealed. They haven't revealed who kills him or anything.
No, they have.
Reveal,
not the specific person's name, but
yeah, they reveal why he is killed, and it is defending
drug deal gone wrong.
Right? Yeah.
No, it's
Archie. That's not the right.
The fuck is that? Archie. Oh, you're doing Edith Bunker.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
No, there's the Archie comic, and then there's future Archie comic where he's an adult, and that's where he's killed is in the future Archie comic. So it's the same timeline, sort of. So basically, they're ending adult Archie by killing him, and then original Archie's still going. And then there's also another comic that mixes Archie and zombies.
That's weird.
Yeah, Jughead was killed. Jughead's a zombie.
Huh.
Whatever the real assholey guy was, the AC Slater of Archie.
Biff?
I don't think his name was Biff.
No, Biff was from Back to the Future.
Yeah, he hates manure.
Yeah. Manure! But he is killed defending a homosexual person.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's stupid. Not that he's defending a homosexual person, but it's just they're trying to move away, at least with this and the zombie Archie, from people's conception or impression of Archie as this saccharine sweet. Oh yeah, his friends love hamburgers. He's got 2 girls. He's banging them both. He's got a finger in each of them. God. But yeah, it's
While Jughead jerks off in the background.
They're killing him off into his crown. They're killing him off defending a homosexual. Doesn't that just seem like they're beating you over the head with it a little bit?
Yeah.
Look how great of a person he is.
Yeah. I feel it. And along the same vein, did you hear about them... I think Marvel's releasing a female Thor. Did you see anything about this yet?
No.
Yeah, they're doing I don't have anything pulled up on it, but they're doing a female version of Thor. They're calling her Thor, as far as I know.
girl-Thor.
Yeah, girl-Thor. And the creator or I forget who it was, maybe it was one of the higher-ups on Marvel, was talking about how it's a step in, diversity and et cetera and so on. It's just things like that you don't have to beat us over the head with, there's always going to be, we don't have to make everybody fucking eunuchs. We don't have to make everybody equal. Our differences are what make us who we are, is what I'm trying to say. I don't want to sound like a bigot or anything, but our differences are what make us who we are. Males are males because we're males, and females are females because they have vaginas and make us sandwiches.
Yeah. I think that, and I took a class and I was awarded, so I'm now allowed to speak for the female population.
Right.
Speaking for the female population, I think that instead of Marvel just taking a male superhero and just giving him a vagina, maybe they should try to create new heroes that females can enjoy as a look up to them, create a new sort of superhero instead of just
And that's just it. There's so many good female superheroes anyway. If we go to DC, there's Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
She is an Amazonian from an island of women.
She's an Amazonian who loses her powers if she's tied up by a man. No, that was actually her weakness in the creation. I don't know if they still have that. I'm guessing probably not. But
yeah. But there are. I was trying to look up a few. I can't remember the names off the top of my head because, like I said, I was going to go off onto this topic and then decided against it.
Mm-hmm.
But it sits poorly with me because Thor is... he's not just a Marvel character. He is a part of mythology. He is a part of history and Norse mythology.
Yeah,
and,
but
why do you have to change the gender of a character just to show that you have some sort of diversity?
It just seems easy. It seems like they're taking the easy way on that.
Yeah, it's lazy.
I can't remember who the character was, and the comic's pretty popular, where they... Oh, shit, I wish I could remember who it was now. Marvel created a girl character, and they not only created a teenage girl as a superhero, but also made her Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I could remember who it was
now.
I don't remember so it kind of kills any discussion there, but...
Right.
And people are going to flip out about it, I'm sure. And it's just stupid. It probably won't be that popular of a character. Maybe it will, I just feel like, oh yeah, hey, Thor has boobs now.
Yeah.
Read it.
I just don't see the need for it, you know.
I mean, there's all kinds of characters from Norse mythology, female characters they could throw in.
Yeah.
So.
Such as?
Freya. She was a giant. Somehow she's connected, you know, because mythology, normally everybody's banging everybody.
Right.
But Freya was like the god of the winds or something. Mm-hmm. And either she had a giant son or she was half giant or something.
Right.
But I mean, Norse mythology had female characters.
Yeah. So yeah, just play off of that, you know, make Freya a main character.
Do you know if they're turning Thor female or they're just making a female Thor also?
From the impression I got, they're making Thor a female.
Because I heard that they're introducing Thor's sister, so maybe that's who it's supposed to be.
Maybe.
It's Thor's sister.
Maybe. The impression that I got was that it was a female Thor. So, I don't know.
I like how I spoke for the female population when there's literally a girl sitting 8 inches from me.
You have any thoughts on that? Female Thor? Do you think it's ridiculous?
I honestly think it is.
Yeah?
They should probably like bring in like Athena if they're going to do anything mythology, you know, anything with mythology whatsoever.
Right.
Bring in Athena or something like that. Make her some type of odd superhero.
Yeah, branch out from the Norse mythology and go to the Greek. Yeah, because there were a lot of Greek female.
Yeah, there was a lot more
gods.
Greek gods that were female.
Yeah, I know Hercules is a Marvel superhero, and he's straight up fucking Hercules from the comics.
Yeah, just straight up Greek old Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember in the, what's the kind of chibi-looking Superhero Squad?
Yeah.
The Superhero Squad show. There's an episode where it's Hercules and Zeus come to Valhalla to pit Thor against Hercules in a battle.
See, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
All right, let's just take that and give them vaginas.
Yes, let's take them and give them vaginas.
Nice work.
Good job.
Excelsior.
Stay. Oh, fuck, I forgot.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
Stay.
Stay frosty. So, well, let's go ahead and get into your discussion. I can end up with, we can peter out our episode as we always do with some of these other things.
All right, yeah, that sounds thrilling. So I watched a documentary. I've seen it once before, but I was showing Bree last night. It's called Guys and Dolls.
Okay.
And it's you can find it on YouTube. It's free. And it's a British documentary, and it follows 4 guys who own real dolls. This? I don't know what you're saying.
He wants a cigarette.
I would like to have a cigarette, please.
How did you not follow that?
Because he's just snipping his fingers like he wants a fucking pair of scissors.
That should have been plainly obvious.
We've known each other for how long now, and
you have never made this motion for a cigarette.
But he has made that.
Yeah, you've done that multiple times.
Which is odd because you have a penis. You can assume from context clues better than Brandon can.
Oh, I got a whole back area you can go to town on.
Oh, God.
Push it and have it.
Anyway, Guys and Dolls.
This documentary follows 4 guys who own real dolls, which are basically, well, they're not blow-up dolls, but it's the same premise.
Dolls.
They're sex dolls. And they're thousands of dollars to buy.
Right.
They weigh upwards of like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Realistic looking, realistic in quotes, but as realistic as you can get without fucking a robot, I guess. Some of them are borderline robots. I was reading about them on Wikipedia. For a while, they don't do it anymore. You could get them with like computer voices where you could like have small, simple conversations with them.
Huh.
But yeah, so
what do you want for dinner tonight, honey?
Dick. So it follows 4 guys and... All right, honey.
I'm sorry. The more I thought about that, the funnier it got.
Well, the technology's still new.
I was thinking chicken cordon bleu, but I mean, okay.
That's why I love you, baby. But it follows 4 guys in differing levels of, like, just sad. Like, clearly they picked 4 of the saddest motherfuckers owning real dolls they could find.
Right.
Like, one guy, and he's been on other shows also. Have you ever seen the show Real Sex? It's like a HBO show. No nudity or anything, but it follows, like, people with weird sexual fetishes or whatever. There's a balloon fetish guy. It's on Netflix. I would highly suggest watching it if you want to look at it and say, wow, what I like isn't as fucked up as I thought. Because that's what it is.
I've seen the series Taboo, some of the series of Taboo.
Same sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, but this one he's talking about on Netflix is completely off the wall as opposed to Taboo.
Well, yeah, but Taboo was on...
TLC. One of them's on TLC.
That's My Strange Obsession.
Okay, yeah, I've watched all of those.
Where, like, the lady's obsessed with eating tape.
Yeah, eating talcum powder and baby powder and
Taboo
stuff.
was Nat Geo, I think is what it was.
I do believe so.
So it had to be relatively tame. I mean, if we're talking about an HBO funded show, then they can get away with a lot more.
So, I got off topic there for a second.
Sticking your dick in plastic.
Yeah. Are you just commenting on what I'm doing right now? But it follows one guy who has a real doll that he refers to as like she, not an it, and he's very open and he's like, I want to be with her for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I can't do relationships. She is my relationship now.
Right.
And the documentary follows he has to send her away to get her joints repaired, so he's without her for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And I mean, he ships her away, like he straps her in, like kisses her on the mouth goodbye. He's crying when she leaves. So it follows him. It follows another guy who's like looks like he's borderline schizophrenic. He's not that interesting because it's just your typical crazy guy. But then there's another guy who has a girlfriend who owns 8 of them.
Wow. So he's a connoisseur.
Yeah. And she knows that, and this guy's probably like in his 50s or so.
Uh-huh.
She knows that he has, I think, 2. And they've been dating for a few months at this point, and he wants to show her like, hey, I have these, this is a part of my life. And she knows, and she's like, she's probably in her 50s too. And she just built like a 50-year-old woman, but she's not unattractive, she's pretty for her age. She's commenting as like, oh, I'm pretty open-minded about it. He says he's not going to use them now that we're together. He just uses them to masturbate with. And he doesn't need to because we're together.
Right.
So he decides that it's come to the point in the relationship where he's going to show her how many he has.
Right.
So the way he chooses to do this is she's coming over for his birthday dinner. So he takes his 6 best sex dolls, real dolls, dresses them all up, puts makeup on them. I mean, dresses them up in tube tops and short skirts, sitting on the couch with their legs spread.
Okay.
A couple of them sitting at the kitchen table where his birthday cake is.
Uh-huh.
And that's how he chooses to show hey look, I fucked these things. Check them out.
So how did she react to that?
She's very you can tell if the cameras weren't there, she probably would have turned around and walked out.
Right.
But the cameras are there, so she's sitting down and is asking him questions and so these are them? How many more do you have? And he's like, well, I have 8 total,
Uh-huh.
So she's talking to the camera. I think I can deal with it, everything's out there in the open. And then it fades to black and then the voiceover is a week later she decided to leave. And that's it. So she clearly wasn't okay with it.
Right.
But I wanted to basically have a discussion on what your guys' opinion is on real dolls.
Personally speaking, I don't think I would ever drop that kind of money on something like that.
So it's just a monetary thing for you.
Well, I mean, me being a very logical person, I don't see the logic in spending money like that. I mean, if I was going to do that, I'd buy a hooker.
Yeah, but you can't. Well, I was going to say you can't put your hooker in a box in the garage when you're done with her, but I guess technically you could.
Well, for $3,000 to $5,000 or more, I probably could.
No, for $3,000 to $5,000, even a low-end hooker, you're going to have her for a week. A sex doll is all the time.
Right, that's true, but I don't know, still.
The hooker kind of self-clean up, though. You kind of
yeah, that's true. Well, that's the thing is, the guy who ships his real doll away, she comes back, and he, sends the cameras away, and the last shot the camera has is he's, laying in bed with her and, kissing her, oh, I missed you so much.
Right.
The implication, of course, is he's going to fuck this doll.
Right.
Clearly, that he views... I mean, he says at one point, I know she's not a real person, but I have a connection with her and blah, 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 whatever.
Mm.
I find it would be the hardest to have a connection with your doll, talk to it, you can switch out their faces and stuff, lay in bed, have sweet romantic sex, and then have to put on, your kitchen glove and scrub her out with a sponge.
With a bottle brush.
Because otherwise it's going to get hard in there and it's going to be fucking ice, it's going to dry and stalactites and stuff.
What?
So, I mean, you'd have to clean it out. So there's,
There's maintenance involved.
Well, yeah, obviously.
He's obviously used tube sock way too much. He knows that there's going to be developing stalactites.
I mean, I just assume that as your semen dries, it's going to be hard, inside of there.
Right.
It's going to solidify.
So what are your thoughts from a female's perspective?
I mean, I honestly couldn't date a guy that would spend that much money, especially on a sex doll. I mean, go get a pocket pussy for $20.
Oh, they're more expensive than
Are
that.
they? I've never really priced them. I have no need for one.
I mean, I assume a fleshlight. I mean, I assume, haha, like and then there's a joke. Oh, so have you priced them? I haven't. But I would guess that a fleshlight's probably like $100, 120 or so.
I mean, for the prices that women will pay for higher end dildos.
I've paid $50 for one, so that's about my extent.
$50?
Yeah.
So what if a guy had a blow-up doll? He's like, I dropped $20 on it. I pump it up with a bicycle pump sometimes.
I would probably just laugh at him if he said he blew it up with a bicycle pump. I'd probably just go get him a love lamp as a joke.
You wouldn't mind it? It would be like, I've got my sex thing, you've got yours?
Everybody has their own thing, I suppose. I mean, but if you're going to go spend, thousands of dollars on a doll, there's something personally wrong with that. But if you're just dropping like $100 here or something like that, that's fine.
So it's the money that makes it weird?
Not necessarily. I think it becomes weird when you have an infatuation to where you cuddle up in bed with it.
An infatuation with an inanimate object.
Right.
Is where it gets weird.
I do believe that's where it starts getting a little weird, when you're completely obsessed and you cannot really function without that. I mean, like you were saying, the guy sent his away for maintenance. What do you do? Go home and indulge in Haagen-Dazs for 3 weeks until this doll got back?
I miss her so much.
Like, what did he do for 3 weeks?
By the looks of the guy, he wrote a lot of bad poetry.
Fan fiction.
Fan fiction?
Ground up some women, put them in a freezer. No big deal. I mean, it's just...
So, okay, well, what if they started making male sex dolls?
That, to me, would be weird. I mean, I'm not a hideous-looking person, so I can go out and get some D. But, like...
Yeah.
I mean, ugly bitches need love, too. So,
It
it might be okay for them, but not for me. Because I'm not too terribly hideous.
Does it make it weird once it's in the shape of a human, you think? Because, I mean, coming into this, I was very strong in the, like, it's not weird. I mean, if the guys have the extra money, if they're not going broke, let them buy it. Like, these guys are clearly the extreme, and I'm sure there are other people like that who, dress them up and wash them and pose them in the bed. Like, one of the guys, the schizophrenic-y seeming guy, made sex tapes with this thing.
Right.
Which, presumably he watched while he fucked her again. But once it becomes human, is that when it gets weird? Like, because buying...
I think it'd just be as weird as fucking a dolphin. I mean, like, something in the shape of a dolphin. I mean, that'd be even more weird to me.
I mean, I don't know. You're never gonna fuck a dolphin in real life, probably.
No, I have absolutely no intentions of doing so, but even if
a dolphin might fuck you, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you don't go swimming with them. But...
Well, I know.
Just don't do it.
I'm saying, like, so a guy buying a fleshlight isn't weird.
No.
But then as it starts to become more human-looking, is that when it becomes weird? Like, if it's a fleshlight, but it's got an ass and a little bit of legs, so you can, like, grab onto it while you fuck it? Is that weird?
It's not necessarily... The whole concept behind it's not necessarily weird. It's just when they start becoming too obsessed is when it becomes weird.
When they start humanizing
the object.
Equipment.
Yes.
I think is when it crosses the line from just being, it's a taboo sex thing, to it's a taboo personifying an inanimate object and treating it as if it were living. I think that's the point where it crosses over into the weird zone.
Well, here's the thing. You said you have a vibrator.
Yeah.
Does it have a nickname? Have you nicknamed it?
No.
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 Have you ever nicknamed one?
No.
See, I've dated girls who have had vibrators that they've nicknamed.
Right.
I mean, is that much different? I mean, I guess they're not cooking a fucking dinner and taking pictures of it.
No, I mean, I've nicknamed my vagina, and I'm sure you guys named your dicks.
No, I don't name mine.
Really? My husband named his.
No.
Well.
No, your husband's just a fucking weirdo.
I was saying my husband's named his dick, so I mean, I didn't,
I've never been one to apply a name to something. I mean, there are people who do that with their cars and stuff. They'll name their cars and things of that nature.
Yeah, mine's a piece of shit. Very creative, huh?
Yeah. But I still, though, I mean, you're giving it a name, but you're not really personifying it and treating it as if it were a living object. Even with, the girlfriends who you've had who've dated or who have had dildos with names.
Uh-huh.
Are they putting, like, monocles and top hats on them? Because that's where it becomes weird.
Occasionally, but that's only when we go out to Red Lobster.
Okay. Well then.
And what do you have? No, I say.
Well, I'll have myself the crab. It only seems appropriate.
Well, and there's the... I mean, there's the guy who, like, sleeps in bed with it, but even some of the more extreme ones, they're, like, putting them up in the closet at the end of the night.
Right.
Or the guy that has a girlfriend, he keeps them in, like, crates in the garage until he busts one out.
Right.
So they're not... even those guys to the extreme aren't personifying to the extent... I mean, that guy did have names for all of them.
Right.
But he was posing them to show his girlfriend, like, you know, here they are, this is them. He totally went about it the wrong way.
Yeah, but that had to take a lot of balls to do that, though.
Yeah, well, and especially because, like I said, the woman is built like a 50-year-old woman. She wasn't fat, but, you know, she's getting older.
Right.
And, I mean, these sex dolls are, like, huge-titted, real thin, and he's got them in, like, tube tops and short skirts and stuff, like, almost spread eagle on the couch.
Yeah. Which seems a little unnecessary.
Yeah, and when that brings me to another part of the discussion, because I watched this with Bree last night. Bree was on our...
Hey, you and 7 of those hookers, get out of here.
Bree was on our Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. I watched it with her last night, and we got into a little bit of an argument, because it also shows the factory aspect of it.
Uh-huh.
And it's hilarious, because the woman who runs the phone calls and stuff for the real doll place is like somebody you would see at my parents' church. She's real like, oh dear, we get so many weird requests sometimes. Like the most just momish looking lady. But she's talking about the weird requests, and she said that there was like a 55-year-old guy who called and requested, you know, and all these dolls look like, you know, 20-something-year-old cheerleadery types.
Right.
And the guy called and said, I want one of these because I'm 55 years old. I could never get a girl like this in real life.
Right.
And Bree and I got into an argument about it, and I guess I want to see your opinion on it too, because her opinion was a little disgusted of like, see, why is it with guys? Why is it always got to be that he wants this 20-year-old looking sex doll? You know, he's 55. Why wouldn't he want, if he got a sex doll, why wouldn't he want something more realistic to what he could actually get in real life? And she thought it was kind of degrading, I guess, and dehumanizing that, of course, he wants, you know, the hot, big-titted, cheerleadery looking girl.
Right. Well, I mean, have you seen a 50-year-old naked?
Yeah, well, and my argument was, without knowing anything about that guy, probably not, but maybe he has a wife who, you know, he has a good job or he's retired and he has the money for it. And he's like, you have a vibrator, I want to buy a sex doll. Why wouldn't I buy a 20-some-year-old one, you know? Because I can fuck somebody my own age. I can, right now, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe I'm of a differing opinion, but I also think, like, the reason that look of beauty of like the thin, big-titted 20-year-old is because at some part in our brain, you know, it's kind of hardwired into males a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and there's different levels of it or whatever. But, I mean, it's clearly a symbol of beauty for a reason to guys.
I miss the good old days where when you were fat, that means you had food and you were more attractive. God, I miss those days.
Yeah, well, and I
that
guess...
been nice.
And that, I mean, that goes against, I guess, what I'm saying, because, you know, the standard of beauty has changed through human history.
Because it used to be 40 years ago, what I have would have been perfect, because I have that hourglass figure, I have a little bit of chunk.
Uh-huh.
I have the big tater tots, but now...
The big tater tots.
Tater tots.
Wouldn't that be more like a potato farm?
Possibly. No, I mean, my husband's 43, I'm 27. So, I mean, he can't get that 20-some-year-old, but I'm not the cheerleader type.
Yeah.
But some guys aren't as lucky. Or miserable, one or the other. I'm not sure how he deciphers that one. That could go either way, on this route.
I just don't think that you could find any 55-year-old man who's spending the money, thousands of dollars on a real doll, who's going to be like, yeah, give me one who's about 250 pounds.
Give me a fat one.
Give me one with real saggy boobs.
Right.
Oh god, I'm looking forward to saggy boobs. I'm looking forward to gravity techniques to like play hacky sack with myself, constantly. Built-in knee pads, scarf, earmuffs. The mysterious look you were giving me as I'm describing what I'm going to do with my breasts when gravity takes toll.
I didn't even know what to think.
You guys are the weirdest family ever.
I was so lost in terrible images.
It's like you're making direct eye contact with me, peering into my soul.
He's just like you're looking for some sort of escape in her dead eyes.
I'm glad I have dead eyes. Thank you, Dick.
I was thinking very seriously about pulling out a katana right now.
Get right on that.
So, weird or not weird then? We'll break it down to that. If you have the money for it, because it seems like for you, Vanessa, besides the humanizing thing, the thing you brought up too is the spending thousands of dollars. If it was somebody who's
if it's
making $200,000 a year and can spare $2,000.
Yeah, if it's idealistic on your budget to do so, that's fine. But most people, no.
So
a lot, especially middle class, they can't afford that.
In this hypothetical, you're dating a guy who makes $200,000 a year, and he buys a real doll. You're okay with that?
As long as my kids don't see it. Because I'm not going to be like, oh, this is Aunt Betty. No,
well, yeah.
That does not work with me.
He's posting her Christmas morning in pictures.
Right.
Oh, Betty, we got something for you.
I'm not one to say, what you should and shouldn't do in your bedroom. That's crossing a line.
I'm not going to say you can't fuck a soda bottle if you want to. It's not my place to tell where you can put your dick.
Thank you.
You can continue with that soda bottle if you would like.
Can I have that Kickstart can when you're done with it, by the way?
Yeah, totally.
Just totally unrelated thing.
Right.
But, as far as, making a show about it and talking about this taboo topic, something that people who are considered normal would find off-putting and weird.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we don't find it weird, does that make us odd?
Well, I think it's just, people like to watch train wrecks.
Yeah.
But,
that's why there's so many reality shows,
Yeah.
People like to see somebody more fucked up than them.
Yeah.
It's true.
But, if they don't want to go on a show about it and they want to do that in their own home, that's their business, and I'm not going to fault them or judge them for it. If I walk into their house and they have their sex doll and just peeking out of the closet, I'm going to be like, oh, hey, cool sex doll.
What if your girlfriend buys a full-on male sex doll, though?
I don't care.
You're okay with that?
I'm easy, though.
Yeah, that's true. What if your significant other, and this is to both you, Rem, and Vanessa, your significant other has a sex doll and you're okay with it, but keep it out of sight or whatever. They want to have a three-way. They want to fuck the doll while you watch. They want you to maybe go down on the doll.
I think we just stare at each other like, really? That was the most awkward question.
Is that when it gets too weird, though? Because, you slowly buy in, and I guess maybe it is kind of a slope, Because if you buy in and it's okay, they're going to keep... I can't even say they're going to keep going with it, because I don't know.
I was telling Remington earlier before you even got here, if my husband has an odd request like that in some type of sexual manner, I would go ahead and do it just to please him. Whether I am enjoying it or not is completely negates the fact that I'm actually doing it.
Because that's part of what you do in a relationship, right?
You experiment.
If you're not totally stuck up.
Yeah, I try to go out of my way to make him happy.
Yeah.
And so, if that's what he would want, I would do it. I'm not saying I'd be too enthusiastic about it. And
you would try it.
I would at least try it. I'm not going to be completely opposed to it, because that's what he wants.
Of course... when you go in to have sex, you have your own boundaries that you set.
Right.
And if somebody makes you or wants you to break those boundaries, then that person's an asshole. But if they want you to do something sexually and it's not pushing a boundary, it's just something you're like, it doesn't really do it for me, but if it does it for you, I feel like that's part of what a relationship is.
People have boundaries?
Normal people have boundaries.
Okay, that's where we were having a miscommunication here.
From my point of view, I don't know if I would do anything with the doll. If they were just using it as an aid, sure.
So she is going to fuck the doll and she wants you to watch. And then do whatever. You're not interested, but that's what she wants.
Just pull up a chair in the corner and read a fucking book.
Are you going to give it a go? She wants you to watch. She wants you to blap, blap, blap.
What was that?
Blap, 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 blap.
Well, I guess
around.
That wouldn't really be any different than watching somebody with a dildo going at it, to me.
Yeah.
So, it's just a full-size doll.
Man. But she's riding it and she's moving the arms and making it touch her face and stroke her hair.
You're just making us creepier than what necessarily
Is that
has to
when
be.
it gets weird? Well, I'm just trying to find the point, the boundary.
Right. But if she asked me to go down on it, probably not.
What if she wants you to sit on it? Ride it?
No.
No?
It'd be like fucking a unicorn. Why not?
And we've all fucked unicorns.
You fuck unicorns on a regular basis.
I frequently fuck unicorns.
Why not?
All the time.
Isn't that why you're not allowed it back in Twilight Grove anymore?
Look at a horse with a seat on its head.
When all those pixies kicked you out, it was super awkward.
Get out of here, you! What are you doing fucking all of our unicorns?
Oh, the unicorn's committing suicide. No wonder they're extinct. You solely blame Remington for making the unicorns extinct.
Sorry, guys.
Nice work, buddy.
Yeah, what can I say? At least we still have Pegasus.
Would it be Pegasi, possibly?
I don't know, because
I don't think it'd be Pegasuses.
when something ends in a US, you're normally supposed to conjugate it as an I
Like cacti.
for multiples, for cacti, octopi. But then I think they've changed that rule.
Because cactuses just sounds weird.
I think it honestly goes on how the word kind of flows.
Pegasus.
So you would say Pegasus. That is the proper,
Pegasi. Pegasuses.
That is the proper plural for Pegasus.
Are you
is
sure,
Pegasus.
or are you just bullshitting?
Yes, I'm sure.
I don't think he's sure.
So basically, you've stuck it in a couple unicorns, and now you're suddenly the expert on mythological creatures.
Well, how many unicorns have you fucked?
None.
There you go.
Okay.
Jesus.
So there is a limit to the sex dolls, then.
Yeah, there's totally a limit.
But if your husband now were to get one, your main problem wouldn't be you bought a... Are you fucking kidding me? You got this thing that's so weird. Your main problem would be you spent $2,000 on this thing?
That would be my main issue. Like, cumulatively, we have 6 kids. I mean, that's just not realistic.
Jesus Christ, you have 6 kids?
Did you not realize that?
Why is he buying a sex doll?
Right?
Exactly.
Obviously, I'm putting out. So...
What if he makes one out of a scarecrow and discount hamburger?
I would just have to laugh about it and immediately call all of my friends, be like, listen to this shit. I would have no issue with it whatsoever because it would just be so ridiculous.
A scarecrow hamburger meat.
Discount hamburger meat. To be
Meat
more
is
specific.
meat is fucking expensive. Hamburger has gone up a lot.
I would probably give him a high five and tell him to continue. And tell him not to give me
Really,
salmonella or some shit.
Really, at that point, you just have to admire his ingenuity.
Right.
Right?
Or your engine.
He had an idea, and by God, he made it work. And he did it on a budget, that's what it's all about with saving money. You don't have to have the nicest things.
Yeah,
you got to work within your budget.
Right,
you know?
you have to do the DIY sex dolls.
Well, I mean, I coupon everything.
The makeable sex dolls. The instructable sex dolls.
Do you really want to buy a sex doll with a coupon?
No, like, I coupon everything. He could put, like, fuck a can of SpaghettiOs for all I care. I get it for free. I don't give a shit.
Dude, fucking a can of SpaghettiOs would be awesome.
Well, that's what we'll do for next week.
Well, good news is he'll just be screaming, oh, the whole time.
That's what we'll do for next week. You'll have sex with a can of SpaghettiOs and report back.
Alright. That was well played, madam.
I think this is officially now the weirdest and most vulgar podcast we've done.
I think it is.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Glad I can bring that to the table.
Oh boy. So we want to talk about something that's not disgusting?
What do we got? What are we at right now? A minute 15?
A minute 15? An hour 15?
An hour 15. Whatever. It's during the ocean.
It's during the ocean time frame.
Yeah, I'd say pick one more. We could do that.
The church one would probably be a little long. We'll go with the...
That would be terrible
Well,
to
let's
follow
go-
up with after sex dolls.
Let's go
talk
with
about
the church one, yeah.
Okay. The Church of England has voted to allow women to become bishops for the first time in history.
So they can now move diagonally, which is great for them.
Oh, that was the best chess joke. I'm so glad you went there. That's awesome. Oh, man. That was great. Yes, they can move diagonally.
So the Church of England is like... See, I'm not super familiar with the Church of England.
The Church of England was King... Crap, I can't remember which king it was.
Is the Church of England different from the Anglican Church, or is the Anglican Church... Did the Anglican Church become the Church of
I
England?
think the Anglican Church became the Church of England, and it started off when one of the kings got excommunicated because he wanted to divorce his wife.
Okay.
I think is what it was. So he was like, well, screw you, Catholicism. I'll go with the Anglican Church, and I'll divorce my wife, and you can blow it out your ass.
Yeah.
But, historically, women have taken, a backseat to being in higher ranking churches.
Yeah.
A lot of it is based off of scripture, and I've pulled up one piece from 1 Corinthians, I think it is. 1 Corinthians 14:34 through 35. And this is just one instance in the Bible, in the New Testament, I believe it is, that they talk about women not teaching the Word of God.
Okay.
So the passage goes, "Let the women keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but let them subject themselves, just as the law also says. And if they desire to learn anything, let them ask their own husbands at home, for it is improper for a woman to speak in church." So, there's a long-standing subjugation of women, especially in religion. My grandparents, they'd actually left a couple of churches when they brought in women pastors. Because they believed in these types of scriptures where women were not supposed to teach the Word of God.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's hard to say where that stems from. Maybe it's because, Eve was the one who coaxed Adam into eating the apple.
I think it's just because the Bible was written by guys.
Yeah. I mean, primarily that would be the reason.
I think that passage was written by one guy who was at church, and there were a couple chatty women in the back. Because, what's the first sentence? Women should be silent in church.
Yep.
You can guarantee if you were to see that original passage written out,
Bitches
that
shut
first
their
would be
mouths.
underlined and
Yeah.
written really fast and sloppy.
At the end of it is, "And she shall make me a sandwich."
Yes. "And the bitch shall make me a sandwich. So saith the Lord."
So what do you think? When you brought up this topic before we started recording, you said that you had very strong feelings on it. I'm assuming that you don't agree that women should be bishops?
Yes. No, this is one of those topics where you have those people who pick and choose parts of the Bible that they want to throw in people's faces when something is going wrong, like homosexuality is immoral and against the Bible.
But they also say the only thing about homosexuality in the Bible is, "Men who lay with other men shall be stoned." I don't see us throwing rocks at any homosexuals anytime soon.
that goes-
And gay dudes love marijuana.
Right? See?
I
They
think-
mixed up the definition of stoned.
Right.
So, it all depends on how you want to interpret things.
The Bible in itself is very much of how you want to interpret it. It's not hard and fast laws, it's just moral guidance on being a good person.
Well, that's the
Is what
thing.
it all boils down to.
Is
in
that's
my mind.
that's how you should view the Bible, but Christianity says the Bible is the Word of God. Everything in this Bible is the Word of God, and you follow it.
Right.
So yeah, the picking and choosing is a little silly.
I would remember reading one article about passages from the Bible that people like to use, the little snippets,
Uh-huh.
and then they go on and expound upon that with, the rest of the passage,
Yeah.
and it has absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah, it's completely out of context.
Yeah, it's so completely out of context that...
You can justify almost anything you want to do with a Bible passage.
Can you
Yeah.
justify it spending thousands of dollars on a sex doll with a Bible passage?
I could almost guarantee you could. I don't think that they're going to actually mention the word fuck doll in Psalms.
I really
But I
hope
could
you
guarantee
bring it
that
to the
there would
table.
be a passage about something about a man sexually being satisfied. Because there were all kinds of laws even then about a guy going and getting a prostitute. It was okay.
Yeah.
The only thing in those times, it was looked down on the prostitute for what she did.
Right.
But the guy was okay. So, in that way, you could probably find something that sort of
I
justifies
really
it,
hope it says, "And he shall lay with fuck doll anytime he pleases."
Well, fuck doll is its original Latin word, too.
Right.
But no, I'm certainly not against, I guess you would call it, progressive Christianity.
Yeah. The stuff that the new pope is doing is pretty cool.
Yeah, man, this new pope is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure everybody's got skeletons in their closet or whatever.
Oh,
Who knows?
yeah.
And I don't follow it closely enough. I follow it in the same way that I just found out Andy Griffith was dead. Oh, that's neat. Thanks, Fark. Thanks, Facebook, or whatever.
Right.
To read, but it is cool to have him come out and say, we need to stop focusing on homosexuality. We need to stop focusing on this stuff. We're losing followers. We need to focus on charity, etc., etc.
Yeah. I read one article where he would actually dress up as a normal priest,
Mm-hmm.
sneak out of the Vatican, and go help the needy.
I thought you were going to end that with go on missions, which would be awesome.
And
Like 007.
Like, not
Pope.
Christian missions, but yeah, you know, he puts on, like, the fucking fake nose and a priest outfit and goes and fights crime.
the silent pope.
The silent pope. That would be awesome.
Ridiculous. Okay, there's your new superhero. Just
And,
put
you
a
know, the
vagina
fact
on
Yeah, make it a girl.
it.
Yeah.
Put a vagina on
we'll
it.
put a vagina on the pope.
Marvel Comics, you can have that.
Yes, that's all yours.
We
baby.
do want credited,
Yes.
naturally. You don't have to credit Vanessa, but us need credited.
Right.
Well, you know, you're a girl.
Yeah,
And-
you're a
I have,
woman and you
I have
have,
a vagina, so
and you have no place in the church, so.
I belong to a church. Do you?
What is this church you speak of?
I actually belong to a church.
Yes.
I have actually been baptized.
What denomination of church do you go to?
Presbyterian.
Does Presbyterian, are they allowed to have female pastors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Because I know Methodist is what my dad's is a Methodist preacher, and they're allowed to have females.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, my grandmother, she preached the word of God for 70 years.
Right.
80 years, you know? I mean, I swear to God, she popped out of the womb with a Bible. I mean...
It wasn't even one of those, like, little tiny Mormon Bibles.
No,
like
it was
a full-on
full-fledged family Bible, right?
leather-bound.
Family tree.
There were already bookmarks in it, too, which
Right,
was
I mean, that's
amazing.
incredible. But
I like how you put all of that in the thing and use the word fuck.
don't worry about it. But, I mean, I have absolutely nothing against women preaching the word. I mean, they could be doing something worse.
And I think that as our generation continues on, the older generation that didn't agree with that is slowly starting to die out. And that goes for a lot of stuff even
Right.
beyond religion, you know?
Yeah.
Is people are way more apt to just not give a shit about that kind of stuff anymore. You know, gay marriage slowly becoming legal in every state. And it will eventually become legal in the United States. There's...
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm completely pro for that.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing, is most people our age now are just like, why not? You
It's
know?
a non-issue for us.
And it's the same
Right,
thing.
It's completely fine with everybody in this room right
And
now.
that's what's cool about what the Pope is doing, is I think he's realizing that old way of thinking is dying out. And we're losing people hand over fist right now. We need to get to the new generation of thinking.
Yeah. I
Which is
agree.
also kind of funny in a way that he, as the Pope, follows the Word of God in the Bible and can now change it. And, you know, we don't need to worry about homosexuals. They should be able to get married. I don't know if he said that specifically,
I
but,
don't
you know,
recall, but
I think we should have women priests. He was pushing for women priests. That as the Pope, he can find justification in the Bible, which goes back to the fact that you can find justification for just about anything in the Bible.
yeah. There is a movement, especially, I have to say this as an American, because in Europe, I mean, a lot of this stuff is a non-issue. But we always hold on to these things that just aren't conducive to us moving on and being a society that betters itself. We're always hanging on to these archaic ideas that don't help us at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a fag as a president. It doesn't matter. Is he going to do good for the country?
It's not like he's going to break into your house and fuck you in the ass while you're sleeping.
Exactly.
And if he
Yeah.
does, he's the president. So
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
What are you
so-
going to do?
What are you
about
gonna do?
Absolutely nothing.
it? The president is breaking into the next house.
Thank you, Secret Service, for
Just a
narrating
string.
everything.
him and the Pope in disguise. The Pope saved the little boys for me.
Oh,
Because they molest children.
Ouch.
wow.
But yeah, it goes to, you know, that a lot of times it feels like, and you know, I'm left leaning and all that,
Yeah.
that,
Why was the Pope Mario? That's a good question.
That is a very good question.
because he's Italian.
Because that's what all Italians sound
They all
like.
sound like Mario?
Yeah. Even if the Pope isn't Italian.
They immediately sound like Mario.
Because I'm pretty sure this one is also not Italian.
I-
And the one before that was German, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
So.
Well, the Pope sneaks out of his Pope Tower at night,
Uh-huh.
and he thinks he's being sneaky, but he always gives it away when he leaps out and goes, hoo-hoo!
So he's an Italian Pillsbury Doughboy. I know where he was going with this, but I'm taking a whole different route.
But I feel like a lot of the American people vote or go against things that are against their self-interest, you know?
It's because we're very judgmental. As a society, especially in America, everybody is judgmental.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody's kind of judgmental of other people.
I mean, they can always be like, oh, I don't care. But the reality is they care.
yeah, well, and it's just crazy because there are things that I agree with, you know, like gay marriage. It should be legal. It's insane that it has become such an issue.
Right.
Yes.
I can't even imagine the mentality of somebody who thinks that gay marriage should not be allowed. in the exact same way that that person can't even imagine why I would think it should be legal, you know?
Or that person can't even imagine why you don't believe in a divine creator.
Yeah, and there's, I try to think empathetically and to understand where other people come from, but there are just certain things I feel like when you're so stuck in your convictions, you just can't get out of them.
That you put blinders on to the world around you.
Yeah.
And especially fighting against something that just doesn't affect you in the least.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
those are the things that just drive me nuts.
What drives me nuts is, a lot of homosexual marriages, they're becoming more legal. But, take my friends, for example. They are a lesbian couple. They went and got married. They are legally married. But in the state of Ohio,
it's not recognized.
It's not recognized, and she cannot get her wife on her insurance plan. But how often do you see homosexuals getting a divorce? As opposed to people who have a straight relationship and...
Yeah.
How often do you see that? You see it constantly.
Right.
So, which one's actually ruining everything? Straight marriage is ruining it.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth.
Thanks.
Straight marriage is a farce.
It's true.
She's the only one of us that's married, too.
I've been married twice.
Yeah.
I'm on my second marriage.
So you...
There you go.
I don't know why you got such a kick out of that. She backed up her point.
No, yeah, exactly.
I did.
That's just what's great.
Next
Straight marriage is ruining it. I've been married twice.
So it really and truly was straight from the horse's mouth.
And
Yeah,
it was.
exactly.
I'm not really keen on being, referred to as a horse, but I suppose I can take that.
Well, with as fast as your legs have been moving all evening.
I'm in the Kentucky Derby.
I figured you were just counting into the millions.
There's a training session here.
Apparently, Vanessa and I both have undiagnosed restless leg syndrome. But
Yeah, you guys are both trying to take off flapping your legs. It's
Yeah.
insane.
But where I go kind of side to side, which is a problem in a car, Vanessa will bounce her legs up and down. And
I could play double bass like a champ.
That just
Right.
made the weirdest sound waves on...
yeah,
The
I'm sure
recording.
it did. Sorry about that, guys.
All right, do we have anything else? I think we've kind of exhausted it.
Yeah.
The computer's going to sleep. That's how
Well,
boring this
Yeah,
is.
the computer literally just went to sleep.
That's how boring this is.
Yeah, we'll peter it out here.
I do like that we went from sex dolls to
A
a
church.
genuine discussion of...
Of religion and...
Yeah.
Right.
That was very impressive.
Well, thank you all for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Tune in next week when we talk about
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
And I'm doing most of the research because Remington does very little.
Right.
And I'm coming into this with as much of an open mind as possible.
Can you bring in bronies in this conversation?
That's most of what I'm going to talk about.
Fantastic.
I'm going to talk mostly about the new My Little Pony, bronies and stuff. I think it's stupid.
Right.
But that's why I want to get enough research to come in. Probably not going to change my mind, but I'll give it a shot. I'm going in with an open mind.
Right.
So keep in mind, if you are a brony or enjoy My Little Pony, the plan isn't to come in and just shit all over everything.
Right.
I'm really going to come in with an open mind about it.
Right.
I probably still will shit on it.
Well, I mean, we're bound to make jokes about it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we don't hold it against them for choosing to make a big deal out of
Children's television show.
a children's television show geared toward little girls.
Yeah.
So, there's that. So we'll see you next week when we talk about My Little Pony. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks.